A lot of creators are producing content, but a few of them are actually building a brand. And that difference changes everything. They don't fail because their editing isn't good, and they definitely don't fail because the algorithm isn't on their side. They actually fail because the content doesn't feel like anything. The creators who are actually standing out do one thing differently. Their content has taste, it has identity, and it has intention. And that's what makes people and brands stop, trust, and eventually buy. In this video, I'm going to break down with a 4-step framework how to create aesthetic content that doesn't only look premium, but actually grows your brand and converts, how it positions yourself as an authority, and most importantly, how you can implement it in your own brand so you can actually make a business around it. By the way, my name is Jeroen. I've been creating content for more than 8 years, and since 2 years ago I have built my personal brand that allows me to live fully from my content, and now I help creators and entrepreneurs to do the same. So let's dive into it. So making an aesthetic personal brand gives you the opportunity to stand out in the market and actually helps you to convert your content. But before we post any content, we have to understand that most content doesn't fail because it's bad, but it fails because it's forgettable. And a lot of people who post content, they lack consistency, not just in their posts, but also in their style. Posts are just, here's what I did today, these are my morning routines. It also feels unrelatable. It misses storytelling. They post without context or narrative, are just images. And last but not least, there's no brand identity, so every post feels like a different person. I see it all the time, and it's good to remember that everything has to be in line with each other to have a good brand. So remember, an aesthetic personal brand makes your content instantly recognizable, and the funny thing about an aesthetic personal brand is that it just signals quality before even value is consumed. And really see this as a resume, for example. If you apply for a job, you also have a good presentation of who you are and how you actually stand out. And this is actually the same with your personal brand. The first impressions are really important. Now, what you also need to remember is that the content online is getting better and better. And when it comes to personal branding, you should be authentic, but nowadays it's not enough anymore. Your brand should look premium, really something people can look up to when they are visiting your brand. And the thing here is you just need the right skills and experience, because I hear it all the time that people say, maybe I need a better camera, but eventually it's the person who is behind the camera that makes the content. So really own the skills, get better at it, and then you will see you can also make aesthetic content with your phone. The next point is defining goals, because you can start your personal brand, but if you have no clear idea on where you want to go with your personal brand, it's not really motivating to post consistently, for example. And it all will feel chaotic, as it says here. So that's why it's really important to know why you are creating content. Is it to build a community, or do you just want to inspire others or generate revenue? And when you look at your goals, really try to reverse engineer that. So that means define your end goal first and then map out the consistent steps to get there. For example, think about these next questions, like what do you want to be known for with your personal brand? And also think about what transformation did you go through that you can help others with, or even the transformation that helped you to start posting content online. For example, I worked from a 9 to 5 and I started my personal brand to create content so I could leave my 9 to 5 and actually pursue my passion for content creation. And a good way to discover why you should be posting content is to use the 5 times why method to connect with your deeper why. So that means I want to make money is not really enough. So for example, in my case, like, why do you want to create content and build a personal brand? My first why is I want to create content because I want to help creators and entrepreneurs build a brand that grows and converts. Now, why do I want to do that? Because I have experienced firsthand how frustrating and limiting it feels to feel stuck in a traditional path. Why? Because I want to show others that taking risks and or betting on yourself can lead to real freedom and fulfillment. Why? Because sharing my journey can help others see that success is possible for them too. Why? Because I want to inspire people to live boldly, build a lifestyle aligned with their passions, and achieve their full potential. So when your why is clear, and as you can see, I didn't finish my line here, you actually have a good reason to stay consistent because you know why you are doing it in the first place. Even if progress feels slow, you can always lean back on the deeper why, and it will just makes it a lot easier. Now we're going to the next step, and here I want to say is that you should stop scrolling for dopamine but start scrolling for data. So here we are really going to analyze content. And a good way to do this is to just look at other creators in this space, what actually works and which style resonates with you. So if we look at those 3 examples, for example, Jared, he's really one of my favorite creators. He has a really good style. Everything is consistent. If you look at the colors, you see a lot of orange tones. It's really cinematic. It gives you that premium aesthetic feel. Also, his bio, it's just very minimal. It's clean. People know exactly what this account is about, and that is what you actually want to create. Now, when we look at the next example, who is Dan, he has also a really clean profile, and when you look at his profile, you instantly know what this account is about. So the first line, he said, passionate about hybrid health and living fully. And the next point is that he wants to motivate others to achieve their goals. So as I said earlier, it's really important to know why you are creating your personal brand. And Dan is really trying to motivate others to achieve their goals, and you see that back in his content as well. Now, what I like about this profile is, again, it's really clean, aesthetic. Everything is filmed with his phone, and that makes his account really unique. That's just a great example that you don't need expensive gear. You can just start with your phone and make aesthetic content. Most of his content is a little bit darkish, as you can see, so it gives that aesthetic feeling. So really try to think about that in your content as well if you want to make it more aesthetic. And yeah, the highlights as well, it's just minimum, clean. Yeah, I really like his profile, and he's a big inspiration. Now, the last profile is Toby, and Toby, as you can see, has also really premium visuals. His brand is more to motivate others, so he doesn't teach a lot of things, but I think he just uses it as a hobby for now. Maybe later he as you can see, he mentioned his YouTube here as well. He wants to make a business out of it, but for now I think he's just doing it as a hobby, and his videos are just insane. A lot of motivating videos, great storytelling. If you want to have inspiration from aesthetic personal brands, you should definitely look at one of those 3 accounts. And if you don't like this account, you still should find 3 to 5 creators on Instagram that represent what you relate to the most. And really ask yourself here, what made me stop scrolling? What are 3 to 5 topics you are interested in? And is it easy for me to make similar content looking at their surroundings and situation? If you look at Dan, all his content, and also from Jared, most of the content are made at home. So it makes it more relatable and more doable to make similar content as them. And you know it works. So really take that into account, and also take into account how they actually combine the sounds with their visuals. Now, again, when it comes to personal branding, you should be authentic, but authentic isn't enough. So authenticity builds trust, and a premium brand builds authority. You need both. And why I'm mentioning this again is because all those brands here have that in place. Especially when you look at Jared, he is also being more vulnerable to the camera. Dan shows his story, so you actually know that there's a real person behind the brand. But besides that, their visuals look premium. And when you have both, you have a strong personal brand. Now, if you start your personal brand, ask yourself what kind of colors are really the colors I want to represent, because every color has a meaning. So for example, when we look at white, it means modern, gray means optimism, orange means energy, brown authenticity, and black minimalism. And you really want to try to keep showing up with these colors consistently to make it look premium, but also let people know what your brand is about based on your colors. You can use other colors as well, just as long as you think about which color has which meaning and how your surroundings look like. So again, think what's doable based on your surroundings. Now, when we have analyzed the content, we are actually going to create a signature content style. Here I have some examples, 3 good examples of what a profile picture should look like. Now, when we look at Jack, for example, you can just see that his photo looks professional. It shows who he is, but yeah, the photo is also from high resolution. Everything looks clear. It also keeps the focus on him without having a busy background, and it makes it just more credible. So when you have made a profile picture, really take into account that you are instantly recognizable and it shows a professional representation of yourself. So what we are not going to do is we don't have a profile picture without anything on it, or have a picture where you don't clearly see who you are. This just makes your profile looks and feels untrustworthy and unclear in purpose, but it's just not aesthetic as well, and you don't make a good personal connection with it, which makes it harder for you to get more followers, get more engagement, and also that people take your account seriously. Now, next part, the bio and the highlights. So when we look at Dan again, everything is really clear. The message in his bio is simple. It aligns with his brand, as I said before, and what he is sharing online. And the last part of his bio is a small link and this can be a beacons.ai link, what he has, where he's probably also sharing more of his other social media accounts where people can look on. But you can also replace this link, for example, to a YouTube link or a custom website to showcase your offers or services. If you want to make it even more aesthetic, you can pay for a verification on Instagram. This increases credibility, improves discoverability, protects your brand, signals professionalism, and boosts engagement. I actually had a problem recently with my account, and it was just very frustrating that I couldn't contact anyone from Instagram because I didn't have a verified account. So that made me actually buy the tick. So again, if you want to make it look premium but also more trustworthy, I really would recommend you to buy that tick. So to sum it up, really try to make your bio, your username, as minimalistic and clean as possible, especially if you want to make it more aesthetic. Now, when you want to post content, you actually want to plan your content. Think of the content you want to produce. Think about the stories you want to tell, the value you want to bring, or the lifestyle you want to show, and really try to make a shot list. Think about wide shots, where you show the whole environment, medium shots to balance emotion and environment, and close-up shots to highlight emotions and facial details. Decide what story you want to tell and the value you want to bring within your content. And choose different content pillars. So, for example, sport, mindset, lifestyle, and nutrition, which is a great example for a fitness coach, for example. Really try to rotate these content pillars within your content every week consistently, and then people actually know what you are talking about and know what kind of expert you are in this space. Now, last but not least, we're gonna post the content. So when we make a carousel, we really want to hold one topic or choose one vibe. And when we do that, we need to keep it aligned with our brand. So we have to make sure it matches our style. For example, dark aesthetic. Another thing that is important is to express mood or emotion. So that means it can be more moody or more funny. And when we look at typography, we should use clean, minimalistic fonts that also are consistent with our brand's vibe. Then think about the layout and spacing within your content. So keep white space consistent and avoid clutter, especially if you want to post any text above your pictures, for example. And last but not least, match the music with the images and the message. So if it's a more emotional story or something, then really try to combine it with slower music instead of high energy music, but I think that makes sense. Now, when we look at reels, we can post different kind of reels. And one of the 3 most important reels we can post are storytelling reels. And I have this on number 1 because here you can show your journey. You can show your wins, setbacks and lessons by using cinematic angles, soft lighting and a consistent color palette to keep it visually aesthetic. Another great example of a reels you can make are everyday moments and day in the lives. Because you should think of it like this. If you want to work with a brand, for example, they want to know how their product can naturally fit into your content. So that's why it's very important to also film these kind of videos. Turn your routines like workouts, meals or morning rituals into clean, minimalistic and visually appealing clips with smooth transitions and natural light or a lot. So a lot is actually like a filter you can put on your videos to make it, for example, more dark aesthetic. Now the last type of reels are value driven. For example, reels like this where I'm talking to you in the camera. So we can share tips or mindset hacks with consistent font and subtle effects and music that matches your aesthetic vibe to make them shareable. The next thing you want to focus on, and which are really underestimated, are stories. And what you probably know already is that stories pop up for 24 hours. But especially with an aesthetic personal brand, this is an opportunity to not only show the most perfect content, but show who you are again. Build trust, get on top of mind of people and show people behind the brand. Show a little bit of your lifestyle, but as you can see here on the right with these examples, show who you surround yourself with, what you are creating on the site. Now, another thing to keep in mind is that you can also show behind the scenes moments or sneak peeks and announcements for your business. My opinion with stories is to really experiment with it, keep it spontaneous, try to post casual, fun stuff or also imperfect content that keeps your brand dynamic and approachable. Because after 24 hours, it disappears anyway. Now, one of the last things we are going to cover are highlights. And also, again here, really try to make it aesthetic in a way that your cover photo should look clean. Also keep in mind to only include stories that fit with your theme or vibe and avoid random posts that actually disrupt the aesthetic. Last but not least, try to fit them in different categories such as travel, food or mood. Now, last but not least, we can use story sequences which are really good for business. As you can see here, Yash is providing value about Instagram stories, what we just talked about. And you can see that based on his text that he has a lot of experience in making stories. So he's explaining how he got results out of these stories, so that instantly makes him an authority in this space. But he's also providing value and provides a call to action so people can also get a framework of him to get better in making stories. So in this way he also get a lot of inbound leads for his offer. If this helped you to rethink your brand or even start your personal brand and create aesthetic content, comment aesthetic below so I know you watched till the end. And if you want to have more tips about creating aesthetic content, please leave a like, comment and subscribe to my channel, and then I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.